people who don't like the way the Trump administration or Republican governors are responding to the coronavirus pandemic really don't have an alternative plan. They throw around things like, well, testing, vaccinations. That's all they say. And you never really analyze what that looks like. What does testing look like? Kayleigh McEnany took it on pretty head on yesterday. She kind of ridiculed the idea that there's going to be some panacea that everybody in America, all 350 million of us, are going to suddenly just line up and be tested overnight, and suddenly all is well in our world as long as we're all tested. She made a good point because there's a little bit of a practical challenge to that. Okay, you get tested on Monday, and then you come in contact with somebody who has the virus on Thursday, and by Sunday you're starting to cough and hack and have shortness of breath. I mean, how many times are you supposed to get tested? How does that work? Well, Kayleigh McEnany, who is emerging as a really sharp, feisty, accomplished press secretary, kind of put that argument to rest.
Well, let's dismiss a myth about test right now. If we tested every single American in this country at this moment, we have to retest them an hour later and then an hour later after that, because at any moment you could theoretically contract this virus. So the notion that everyone needs to be tested is just simply nonsensical. The people who need to be tested are vulnerable populations. That's why Dr. Birx has repeatedly emphasized we need to surge nursing homes with the testing, meat processing facilities. That's where the testing is needed. We have to be strategic with our testing, and we have done that so far. And again, if we want to talk about testing and the volume of testing, the fact that in South Korea, we always hear about South Korea and their tests. There are 11 tests per 1,000 here in the United States. That's 17 tests per 1,000. Our hotspots per capita are higher than other countries. We've conducted 2 times the number of tests of other countries around the world. We're at a very strong place in this country with testing, but rest assured we'll deploy it strategically, because that's what the American public expects of us.
Speaking of Kayleigh McEnany, she turned the tables yesterday at her press briefing. A reporter asked her one of those gotcha questions, and her response was epic. And I want to play the response from her, and I want to ask you if you're pleased with the way the administration has handled dealing with the media, dealing with the critics, dealing with this worldwide crisis. Okay, so first, let me play the clip of Kayleigh McEnany turning the tables, turning around at a reporter who asked a pretty dopey gotcha question, and boy, did she respond in kind.
In a previous life, before you were press secretary, you worked for the campaign, and you made a comment, I believe, on Fox, in which you said President Trump will not allow the coronavirus to come to this country. Given what has happened since then, obviously, would you like to take that back?
Well, first, let me note, I was asked a question on Fox Business about the president's travel restrictions. I noted what was the intent behind those travel restrictions, which is we will not see the coronavirus come here. We will not see terrorism come here, referring to an earlier set of travel restrictions. I guess I would turn the question back on the media and ask similar questions. Does Vox want to take back that they proclaimed that the coronavirus would not be a deadly pandemic? Does the Washington Post want to take back that they told Americans to get a grip, the flu is bigger than the coronavirus? Does the Washington Post likewise want to take back that our brains are causing us to exaggerate the threat of the coronavirus? Does the New York Times want to take back that fear of the virus may be spreading faster than the virus itself? Does NPR want to take back that the flu was a much bigger threat than the coronavirus? And finally, once again, the Washington Post, would they like to take back that the government should not respond aggressively to the coronavirus? I'll leave you with those questions, and maybe you'll have some answers in a few days. Yep.
Kayleigh,
Thank you very much.
You were prepared for that.
The one reporter, he was left with saying, you were prepared for that. No, because you don't want the press secretary to be prepared for your boneheaded questions and your gotcha attempts to take down this president. It's so hysterical to watch the hypocrisy of these corrupt and these lousy and these angry and these biased and partisan hacks. All they did was complain when they had the press briefings. These are just propaganda machines. They shouldn't do them. They shouldn't do them. So they stopped doing them. Now they're howling like, going crazy like banshees. Why did you take down the briefings? We want to have fun. We want to have our moment. There's nothing this president can do, nothing he can do that will satisfy them, ever. They're never going to give him credit. They're never going to give him any opportunity to be able to enjoy something successful that has been achieved. The president himself said it yesterday. He was in the White House and he acknowledged what he's up against.
Look, here's the story. There's nothing I can do to satisfy the media, the Democrats, or the fake news, and I understand that. We did the greatest job mobilization in history with the ventilators, and I don't think there was a story what a great job we did. Now we're helping Germany and we're helping many other countries, France, Spain, and Italy, by the way, and Nigeria, sending 250 to Nigeria ventilators. And 2 months ago, we didn't have any ventilators for ourselves. The cupboards were bare, right, Deborah? They were bare. People have no idea. There's not a thing I can do to satisfy the fake news, and there's not a thing I can do to satisfy Democrats.
He's right, of course. So my question to you is, the kind of contentious, bare-knuckled brawler style of this president and the way this administration has handled this whole pandemic, the ventilators, the hospitals, the Navy ships, the PPE, the companies like MyPillow building, manufacturing, stepping up, manufacturing face masks and protective equipment, personal protective equipment. I just want to go to you directly here in the ReliefFactor.com studios. We've made it to Thursday, May the 7th. I want to ask you, how would you grade the way this administration has handled coronavirus? On a letter grade, A, C, F, A, B, B plus, D minus? You tell me how you think the president and his team have responded to coronavirus thus far. I'd love to get kind of a round robin example of how Americans are feeling about their president right now.